2025 has been the year where we finally put a spotlight on how broken the financial system actually is, and it really does start with the Trump administration. Eric Trump told us back in April of this year that if banks don't watch what's coming, they'll be extinct in 10 years. The quote here was, "The modern financial system is broken, it's slow, and it's also expensive." He has been a vocal advocate of digital currencies, and also so has Trump. Right? Recently, we know with Genius, Trump declared the financial system broken, proposes crypto solution Genius Act passed. And yeah, he is endorsing crypto and stablecoins as the solution for our financial system. And it's crazy that we are living in these times where, we are at the beginning point of mass adoption of crypto. And this will probably continue for years on end. And it really does start with stablecoins. I've been focused on stablecoins. I've been locked in completely on the stablecoin market because, if we think about the new year, like almost ever since going back to November, right? In November, we were at $174 billion in terms of the market cap for stablecoins. We are now over $261 billion in market cap. Think about how crazy that is. On January 2nd, we had almost $205 billion. We are now in that massive step function phase of stablecoins where we're just going parabolic. Okay? And the crazy thing is the change in the last 7 days has been $2.72 billion in just 1 week. That is insane to think about. And by the way, we could also look at the USD inflows as well. And we could zoom in on this. Since pretty much the new year, let's go back to just the new year. Let's go and look at this. So we could see the inflows here around stablecoins. This is very significant. We're seeing $2+ billion in just a single day here in terms of inflows into the stablecoin market. And even if we look at the market cap as well for stablecoins and we just go and look at the new year, we could see the total growth here. I mean, this might not seem like a lot, but it's a change of almost $60 billion in just 7 months. If stablecoins continue to move like this, we are going to see stablecoins reach $1 trillion faster than we ever thought possible. Now, when we think about this, we look at the stats around the networks. And this is where things can really start to make a lot of sense. Stablecoin volumes are booming in 2025. That's what Biconomy said. Ethereum, 3.2 trillion. Base, 4 trillion. Tron, 1.93 trillion. This is a new record. Optimism, $300 billion. I bring this up because I want you guys to understand that this is quarterly volume. Okay? And the quarterly volume here from quarter 1 to quarter 2 is up significantly. This is telling us that the network effects on these networks through stablecoins are becoming extremely bullish. Because remember, stablecoin volume and value being moved over these networks creates demand for the underlying gas token, which is why we're now starting to see Ethereum really push higher. A part of, the boom around Ethereum, it's all, really kind of it goes back to stablecoins. It also goes back to even tokenization. Ethereum is the dominant name around both of those markets for now. But what's crazier about all of this is we now are in that moment where mainstream media is addressing what's happening. Here we have Coinbase, huge moment for crypto, huge moment for updating the financial system. The Genius Act is now law. I hope people realize how important this moment is for crypto. Genius is the first federal crypto bill signed into law with more on the way. The financial revolution starts here. And yeah, what's crazy about this is we have been talking about this for over 5 years when it comes to XRP. We have been saying that the financial system is broken. It's broken. It's broken. And we sound it like a broken record. But now we have the fix. And it's being shilled to us not by some crypto influencer, not by some YouTuber, but by the US government themselves. And that should be a big signal for what's to come. But check this out.
The Genius Act that gives the market more clarity. Shares finished up more than 2%. So joining us now from the White House, is Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, along with our own Emily Wilkins. Emily, take it away.
Thank you so much, Morgan. Brian, thank you so much for being here. You got that shout out, of course, from the president. Talk to me a little bit about what this stablecoin bill becoming law is going to mean for Coinbase.
Yeah, well, this stablecoin bill passing is really a financial revolution for America. It means that crypto can finally start updating the financial system, especially for our payments, which are running on these creaky old systems that are decades old. Now, every payment in our economy can be fast and cheap and global, under 1 second and 1 cent anywhere in the world. So this is a huge milestone for crypto, and the job's not done. We also want to get the market structure bill called Clarity passed as well. The president said he wants to see that on his desk by September 30th. We're committed to trying to help that happen along with the rest of the industry, and it offers good consumer protections and regulation for Bitcoin, Ethereum, all.
The Genius Act that gives them.
And yeah, the bills that are being passed right now and the things that are being focused on from this admin are the things that need to actually happen to accelerate the growth around all of this. And with stablecoins booming and continuing to boom, we really look at what Ripple has been doing. RLUSD is a great example of this. Big shout to Paul Barron for this. We have Game Changer with RLUSD already compliant with the Genius Act's one-to-one reserve requirements and monthly audits. XRP becomes the bridge currency for a regulated digital payments ecosystem. Every RLUSD transaction on the XRP ledger burns XRP, creating deflationary pressure while institutional adoption soars. The future of payments isn't just digital, it's XRP powered. Now, I will say this, a lot of people thought that this was a crazy post because of the burn mechanism, right? Oh, this is not going to burn a significant amount of XRP because it's such an insignificant impact. We could say that now, but when we think about, how much money is being moved over these networks in a single quarter, these trillions of dollars could easily burn a very large amount of XRP. This is where a lot of people kind of get that idea that, XRP is always going to have a massive supply and it's never going to be worth anything. The more volume and the more value that gets pushed over the XRP ledger, the more and more XRP that's burned. We could see the supply of XRP out there diminish greatly over time, especially if we start to see increased adoption at scale. This is where everyone starts to kind of lose focus on the big target, which is mass adoption has yet to actually hit this space. We have yet to see trillions of dollars move over these networks. When that happens, people are going to be shocked by how much XRP actually gets diminished through the burn mechanism. Now, on top of this, I saw an incredible post by Black Swan capitalists, and I read this and I said, people need to listen to this and really hear this, because this tells us exactly what's happening. Now that the stablecoin bill has officially passed, let me walk you through how this is going to play out over the next few months and into this coming year. RLUSD is the Treasury's vehicle to globalize the digital dollar while simultaneously creating new demand for US Treasuries. I told you this back in April of 2024. With the legal framework for stablecoins now in place, RLUSD operates today as a fully compliant institution-grade US dollar stablecoin backed one-to-one by dollar deposits, short-term US Treasuries, and other cash equivalents, and issued natively on the XRP ledger. By tokenizing US debt and integrating it with the XRP's liquidity layer, RLUSD can enable real-time cross-border settlements. This is how value moves globally in a post-SWIFT world. RLUSD represents the digital dollar. XRP is the infrastructure that moves it. Think of RLUSD as the cargo and XRP as the freight system, delivering it instantly and securely across borders without intermediaries, delays, or FX slippage. The synergy is non-negotiable. No stablecoin can operate at this scale without a neutral, trustless settlement layer. XRP is that layer. It connects institutions, banks, markets, and digital assets across networks, tying the dollar to global currencies, commodities, and tokenized debt. Here's where it gets interesting. The idea of tokenizing US debt and linking it to gold is no longer speculation. It is gaining traction, something I have been explaining for many years. Look at the pattern: record-breaking gold purchases by central banks, ongoing pressure on the dollar, and a growing inability to fund deficits without devaluing the currency. The US is out of monetary options. Inflation remains, and the national debt can't be repaid through growth or austerity. The only viable path forward, if we are ever to enter a new golden age, is to reprice gold, tokenize debt, and settle the new system through XRP. That's the only way to restore confidence, stabilize the dollar, and reset the system without defaulting outright and harming the middle class. While RLUSD is currently backed by US Treasuries and cash equivalents, the concept of a gold-backed stablecoin on XRP rails represents a bold vision for a new financial order that would provide transparency, liquidity, and sovereign credibility. However, I believe the next step will be a gold-backed treasury token, which could further stabilize the system and redefine trust in digital assets, which, by the way, this has been getting talked about by some pretty prominent names, even former, major analysts around the US government, which, it could definitely be a possibility. Gold-backed treasury tokens or treasury bonds is something that we should really focus on, especially leading into 2026, because it's a growing narrative that's been, talked about by, like I said, prominent names for quite some time now. This is how you restructure debt and give the dollar a second chance in the 21st century without collapsing trust. It's already unfolding behind the scenes. The Genius Act just cleared the path forward for compliant treasury-backed digital assets. The offshore game is over. Tether's days as a shadow bank and liquidity provider are numbered. Audits will tighten and regulatory pressure will escalate in the crypto space, driving capital out of unregulated assets and into fully compliant ones like RLUSD. And when that happens, the liquidity layer follows. Ripple's institutional infrastructure is already in place. XRP already sits at the center as the neutral bridge currency or asset connecting tokenized dollars, debt, commodities, and currencies. If you are paying attention, then you see it. This is how you get ahead of the central planners. That's why I always say don't sell your XRP. It's not just another altcoin, it's the new financial plumbing, and it's becoming monetary policy right before your eyes. The Genius Act isn't just regulation, it is the catalyst. And I agree with most of this. I still think we should take at least our initial investment out, but outside of that, I do think that all of this is truly happening. I think that Ripple has been positioned to be a dominant force for so long, and even the signs are there, right? Big shout out to Anderson for this, because this kind of, brought back all of those old but gold images of how close Brad Garlinghouse is to everything, right? It kind of reminds me of, when you look back in history and you look at images and you're like, wow, all of this was tied together. We just really didn't tie it all together in images. Well, if we look at this ties it all together. This is the puzzle pieces. This is telling us what's happening. We have here, Brad Garlinghouse is not your regular crypto CEO. We've seen him time and time again being in some of the most important rooms on the planet. The last piece of the puzzle was clearly the United States. We just witnessed Brad sitting at the same table as President Trump. People may view this as just another coincidence, but I doubt it. Here we have this image from, this I think is 2017, 2016. Here we have Brad Garlinghouse sitting next to the ECB, the IMF, the BIS. Then we also have this next image here, which he's sitting next to the SWIFT CEO. And then we also have this image where he's sitting next to Ross Lecco from the IMF. Also, he's at the BIS now, which the same BIS that brought Ripple onto the CPMI group. Then also, we have over here, Brad Garlinghouse sitting next to some very prominent names here. And we have from Donald Trump's, this is his Truth Social account, a U.S. crypto reserve will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed the presidential working group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, Solana, and ADA. When we think about all of these connections, when we think about Brad Garlinghouse and all of these meetings that, Brad's attended, I don't think that Ripple is just another crypto company. I don't think that XRP is just another crypto asset. And I don't think RLUSD is just another stablecoin. I think that this is the US's strategic weapon. Ripple just so happens to be a US based crypto company that's been utilizing blockchain since inception. That's the first company that was ISO 20022 compliant, that is based on blockchain technology. The same, blockchain company that's held a banking conference, aka Ripple Swell, right? I mean, think about how crazy that is just in itself. A blockchain-based company that has held a banking conference. And this is at a time where banks were not even here, where we weren't seeing crypto as prominent as it is around the financial space. Like I said, Ripple is not just your typical crypto company. XRP is not just your typical crypto asset. RLUSD is not just your typical stablecoin. These are puzzle pieces to the new financial system. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Ripple had a major hand to play in the new financial system with RLUSD and XRP as the backbone. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.